infrastructure. Everybody spoke about the power and the gas, and we are in this kind of problem. I have to admit that again, it's all inherited from the past. Unfortunately, on the power and gas, nothing can be solved within 6 months. Nothing can be solved within a year. And minimum time is 2 years, minimum. So we are struggling with the issue of power and gas. And without power and gas, you are talking about the economy which really cannot go forward. And I can assure you that we are trying to do everything in the quickest possible time. We're not wasting any time on this. On the gas, with the FSRU, onshore storage facilities, all being decided, you'll come to know within a few days. On the power sector, there has been a lot of power generation, then transmission has been a big problem. As a matter of fact, the figure we have been getting, that actually it is way less than that in reality. So power generation and the power, the mix, energy mix is an issue that we are again, as a matter of policy, in the process of finalizing it. So we're going to have the renewable energy, we have the gas-based energy. Coal is something that we have as a resource. We are exploring also the coal base. So there is going to be a mix of energy that we are going forward. But the mix is something that we have more or less decided. Hopefully, in due time, we'll see the big change in the power and gas sector. I always add one more thing, because in the way of development, that a $3 billion economy that we have projected into 2034, the robust internet is very important. Because to get the outreach to all citizens, without a robust internet, it's not possible. But the tech sector that we always talk about, ICT, that sector that we talk about, without a robust internet, it's not possible. So I always add power, gas, and internet, robust internet. So we have, our ICT sector is working seriously on the ICTs, on the internet issues and related tech sectors reforms. When I was in Washington, in the spring meeting of the World Bank, we had a meeting with the American business community, US-Bangladesh business community. One thing that came out as a surprise that the reforms that Americans have been asking for years and years and years. And in that meeting they said, with this new government, we have seen them done within 2 months. In 2 months. This is coming from them, it's not what I am saying. And when the American delegation is visiting Bangladesh now, they have reiterated the same thing. The changes we have been asking for on the tech sector, on the ICT sector, has all been met within the 2 months of the government. That shows where the current government is, where it is going on the tech sector, ICT sector, AI included. Now the manufacturing policy-wise, as you have seen in the budget, First is deregulation. Now, in the 4.5 hours of my budget speech, 4.5 pages is on deregulation. 4.5 pages. Deregulation, 4.5 pages. Now, what does it mean? I mean, giving a speech, budget speech, you talk of so much deregulation. If it means that they are not executed on time, they don't mean anything really. And in Bangladesh, those of you, all of you are businessmen here, you know how this country has been over-regulated, over the years, over-regulated. Now to uproot that and get the deregulation executed is not an easy job. We understand that only too well. So we have formed a task force who will be overseeing the whole deregulation process. We are also having a website that anybody is non-compliant with the government deregulation process, any businessman or any citizen can reach out to that website and complain that this is where I am stuck. This is where deregulation is not functioning, it's not working. And we are monitoring on a daily basis. Some laws will have to be changed, that is under process already. On the taxation side, one big complaint from the business community, that the red tapeism, bureaucracy, harassment, corruption. Again, deep-rooted, very deep-rooted. To uproot it and get it going in the right direction is the job we are trying to do. And tech GDP is one of the lowest in Bangladesh, even in the region. So we have decided to bifurcate the NBR, National Board of Revenue. One is the policy-making body, another is the execution. On the policy-making body in the past, previously actually, policy-making body and execution were all in one, together. The same people would form the tax policy and the same group of people would be in the execution. So now that we have bifurcated, the people who will be forming tax policy, or doing it, is going to be the expert group, not bureaucrats. The group who knows I call it the businesses, who knows how each and every policy impacts on the taxpayers, on the revenue collection of the country, on the consumption side. All found problems necessary will be taken into account by the expert group. And these expert groups are not bureaucrats, I can assure you. This is going to bring about a big change in the taxation policy. If you get the taxation policy right, I think life is much easier. The major issues in the taxation policy is how it is formulated, not taking into account consideration that needs to be taken before you form a tax policy. So there, I think, hopefully we will see some result. Now we are trying to automate completely. Again, a very big resistance from the people who have been in the job for so long. They don't want automation. Because automation means transparency, automation means this quick service. So that doesn't suit, of course, a lot of people in the NBR. And we have decided that automation will be done within a certain time frame. And once it is done, I think a lot of issues like submitting your return to starting from getting your rebates. Everything about taxation has to be done online, real-time basis. So I think that will reduce a lot of problems. On the investment side, we have opened the policy actually. Anybody, there is no bias on export or import, it's just open. For the exporters who are willing to come other than ready-made garment sector, will all be given duty-free bonded license. Everybody will be given. Anybody is coming forward with any export product will be given bonded warehouse tax-free facilities, back-to-back LC if it is applicable. If they don't want to have a bonded warehouse, they can do it under guarantee with the bank. That's also the option we have left. Some people, they may not be willing to go for a bonded warehouse, but they can do it with the bank guarantee. They don't need a bonded warehouse. And in this process, we have even given permission for the gold jewelry, silver jewelry, diamond cutting. Everything will come under this bonded warehouse. There is a lot of protest, lot of resistance on giving these policies because there is always fear of pilferage, theft, But if you fear of theft and pilferage stops you from making the policy, export will never take off. So we have decided that anybody that is open can do it. On the infrastructure of port is another issue. We're talking about ease of doing business, cost of doing business. Port is one place which really pushes up the prices of productivity, even production, or even for the goods that goes to consumers. So we have had a meeting with the port and the custom together because they have been always blaming each other. So I had a joint meeting with them a few days back. Hopefully everything is going to be time bound from now. And if anybody violates, a decision will be taken. Now, on the foreign investment, particularly is more appropriate for today's forum. I think the one issue was always the repatriation issue has been, like Mahmud also mentioned, the repatriation of the profit and the capital. So Bangladesh Bank is taking care of that. I think it has eased a lot by now, but maybe there can be odd issues here and there. But I think you should not have any problem repatriating your profit and capital. The other day there was the American delegation, there was a complaint. Somebody had a power plant, and the power plant, the life has expired, they've closed down, they want to take it out of Bangladesh back to America, US. And the custom was not allowing it, they were asking for duty while the plant is leaving the country. So this was, we have taken it up immediately, and they were allowed to take out their capital goods without any duty. Sometimes regulations are made, then yet you have all problems here and there. So we are open to listen, we are open to discuss. If should anything happen like that, we are taking care of that. Even individual cases are separately taken care of. The currency, the exchange rate is another issue for many reasons, not just for investment. I think what central bank is not doing too badly on that. It has become more or less market-based. Maybe odd things here and there a little bit still to be fine-tuned. But I think Bangladesh currency is now more or less market-based. So there is no fear of, people, of the predictability and consistency of policy. You have noticed in the budget, all the policies are time-bound. Nothing is not for this year, it's for next 5 years. So for the first time, we have a budget where policies are given for 5 years. So that's again for predictability and consistency of the policy, to some extent taken care of. I could not say, that everything has been done. It's all hunky-dory for all of us. It's not. We still have a lot of problems. And it is the will of the government, the leadership of the government that matters. I'm getting great signal on the capital market. Great signal. With the changes in the Security and Exchange Commission, with the changes in the regulation in the capital market, we are seeing a lot of interest from the local investors and foreign investors to be listed in the stock market. And the stock market is now, you can see that it's on the way up. The indicator is on the way up. But our market cap is very small. We need to have more listed companies. I'm also happy to tell you that we are getting a lot of interest from foreign fund managers. A lot of interest. Not one, not two, quite a few. And big fund managers from the States, investment bankers like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, they're all showing interest to come to Bangladesh. The reason I'm saying this is because our industry and trade has become solely dependent on the high street banks, which is completely wrong. High street banks have short-term deposit and they've been doing long-term lending and huge amount of money. That's not what they're meant to do with it. The big investment should go to the capital market. And the financial architecture is changing. But in Bangladesh, we still stuck to that high street borrowing for our funding. Industry cannot bear that kind of cost, actually. Higher interest rates. And this is exactly why it's not just the private finance capital structure is changing. It's also the public finance capital structure is changing. So I am now having to look as a finance minister, what are the alternative financing Bangladesh can get? World Bank, IMF, Asian Development Bank, depending on their support for an economy like Bangladesh, a growing economy like Bangladesh, looking for $1 trillion economy by 2034. We have to look for alternative financing. And again, we are getting good response. Our financial architecture has to change. We coming out of high street borrowing, we should have a blending of finance with various products that is available. These products are available, but we have not been able to deliver in Bangladesh. Now it is happening. That reduces your cost. Even bond is lower than bank interest. Equities, of course, is another issue that you make. When you make profit, then you pay dividend. And there are many other products that's coming up. So currently, as I said, we are looking for alternative financing, and architecture of financing is a new look we are having. future. I think I'll leave it to these because I think Q&A will bring out more interesting questions and for me to be able to answer in detail. Another thing if I don't mention the bank resolution issue, because it's a huge issue, we all know that. Bangladesh financial sector, particularly a lot of banks are in distress. So, bank resolution issue is a difficult issue for Bangladesh right now. There is a serious capital deficit in this bank. Serious. They've been laundered out and NPL is very high. But to resolve this NPL issue is a big challenge for the government. And unless we can recapitalize this bank, actually it's going to be very difficult for these banks to continue. But the problem is there are depositors who cannot withdraw their money. And there are businessmen who have been working with these banks, suddenly stuck for their working capital, for opening the LC and other funding issues are stuck. And these businesses are really in real distress. I'm getting almost daily few issues, accounts coming to me. So the capitalizing these banks is a big issue. We are trying to do that from, as I said, foreign fund managers are interested. They are coming. Government can go so far. Deficit is so big that government cannot allocate that kind of money out of budget for all these banks. We have to have a mix of government support, rescue support, and other recapitalization process, which is under process. I think I'll leave it to that, and if we can start for Q&A.